Technology have not simplified things, but have created an age of sensory overload and a societal need for everything to be bigger, better and faster. The resulting haste has spread into professional and personal areas of life, resulting in the call for deceleration. Until we break the endless loop driven by this quest for efficiency, complexity and optimization, and do not use our technological progress for the benefit of all, we will not be able to overcome this rush. The so-called human progress will not only prioritize a minority, but also have a detrimental effect on the spheres of life of the majority. If the present goals are continued, the prognosis for the society, for the social and cultural evolution, with its increasingly automated solutions for our professions, will lead to a redundancy of many life-fulfilling pursuits. It is precisely the task of the creative minds to create a path within these dynamics and to enable advancements for everyone in order to shape a cultural identity and to disentangle seemingly spiritless developments. So I wanted to start with this text in order to introduce you to the works I will talk about. My name is Florian, so I will talk about my private projects prior to the projects I'm doing now at Herzog and Demmerau. So starting from a transition from a Western production society into a service society has shaped almost all areas of our life. The increase in the complexity requires a good interaction between expertise and interdisciplinary brings design tasks for generalists such as the architects. And Blickfeld team is not a company, it's rather a public free repository for the projects I realized with the help of experts in their fields. And translated to English, Blickfeld means field of view. And 7 is the number of principles I keep in the field of view when I develop. So create tools that are fun and check this as your most critical user. Omit unnecessary information and show it at the right time. Create simple and flexible tools to encourage creativity. Provide the best control in the most simple way. Design efficient and time-saving workflows and limit the possibility for user errors. And the 7 concepts refers to all other principles. These principles justify any effort for constantly improving your tools. And these 7 principles I try to follow with these projects. So, as I said, with the increasing complexity in the manufacturing process and due to required technical knowledge, the planning tasks must be taken over by civil engineers or specialized consultants. And in order to facilitate the creative discourse between the two camps and to avoid undesired compromises on solutions, suitable interfaces are required. And experts from the IT industry create technically sophisticated solutions, but they offer a little scope for the design processes. Working on the Elephant House for the Zoo Zurich was a good opportunity to discover the creation of such interfaces. This video shows a tool which was developed in close cooperation with the Civil Engineering Office Walter Gammarini in one of the planning phases. In the course of the shown works, I realized that I had to rewrite and adapt scripts for even simple tasks, and therefore it seemed necessary to prepare these tools according to the mentioned 7 principles, and later the most useful of these were made free of charge for everyone as the FAT tools. In my thesis, I have looked more deeply in the 3D forming of metals and tried to make this technology accessible to other students in an easy and comprehensive way. The title environment represents the initial idea to create reinforcement with 3D bent wires for free-form elements out of concrete. And my developed method is based on a constant feed of metal wire, which can be deflected by a hinged nozzle in different directions. And by calculating the spring back and with the numerical control of this nozzle position, it is possible to manufacture NURBS curves by approximation with arcs. So the method has been further developed into suitable mechanics, electronic components and the necessary driver have been programmed, and a simple to use touch interface has been designed for the user. The software layer shows only the necessary information about the complex process in the background and allows to detect design problems in an early stage. After all components for this project were designed, ordered or milled, the interface could finally be tested on a working prototype. At an international workshop in Taiwan, a group of students then tested this interface with their different design ideas. And after a one-day crash course in Rhino, Grasshopper and Environment software, the newcomers were able to deal with the tools within a short amount of time. The project TACO was founded during a seminar at the University of Innsbruck. Together with Xuan and Yuting, I want to provide an easy and fun access to industrial robot technology for students and newcomers. By reducing the complexity of control, facilitates the user interaction with the robot controller and makes this technology much more accessible. So TACO is a free extension for Grasshopper and consists of all necessary features for a modern robot offline programming tool. In no time, complex motion sequences and routines for the robot can be created, simulated, and eventually corrected before the automatically generated program is loaded and executed directly on the robot controller. So complex calculations such as the inverse kinematics, the collision control, and also multi-robot applications will be done in the background. This allows the user to focus on the essentials in this project. After some works at the University of Innsbruck, we used TACO as an interface also for concrete printing at this workshop in Taiwan. And especially with concrete 3D printing, it's important to focus on the sensitive process of the material to be able to react quickly and on the changing conditions of the material. After the release of TACO, we were pleased to see that our concepts became useful also for others. In order to enable real-time applications with robots in the future, we are currently working on TACO 2.0, which we will present in September at the Rob Arc in Zurich, if you're interested. So as of 2016, I'm employed at the Digital Technologies Department at Herzog & Demerow. And there is probably no better place to prove my principles for creative software tools than an international and innovative focused office. And at the DT department, we work on digital solutions for the office in the areas of Rhino, Revit, CAD, CNC visualization, and also VR. To eliminate difficulties in the design process. So especially here it's important to connect diverse areas for a more efficient and creativity enhancing workflow. And better interfaces and tools are the key to success. These three pictures show the same project from the same perspective and illustrate very well the challenges an architectural project goes through. The transitions between these phases have to happen as uncompromisingly as possible. Flowing transitions between plans, project management, visualization are derived from a central 3D model. When it comes to BIM, our department always tries to stay one step ahead with the use of new interfaces. Therefore, the networking of all those elements to a satisfactory semantic building model has to be partially scripted, for example with PyRabbit, Dynamo. So with these new opportunities, we respond always with great interest and examine them for their practicability in the project teams. To do this, we literally break them apart and analyze them and assemble them together according to the wishes for new applications. So, in this project, we call it the Hub. I developed together with our rendering and VR specialist Nikolai Bartlett. It's an office-wide solution, and it distributes the 3D assets, the materials, the scripts, and the plugins within the office. And a simple search and dropping of objects directly within the CAD software allows fast and clean working conditions. This avoids also corrupt texture paths or other mistakes like duplicate objects instead of blocks. And if there are any problems, you can ask for help via the integrated chat from other colleagues in the office, which would Rhino. The interface should bring more ease and fun in creating visualizations, as in architecture often necessary, create an option filled with life very quickly, so users can concentrate more on the essentials, the design. These tools such as the in-chat house helps also to reduce the annoying nowadays outdated email traffic and facilitates communication among our 400 employees. So, to provide these tools and other tools trouble-free and pleasant, they have to work very conformant. It is necessary to have the right infrastructure, and we set this up in cooperation with our IT department. On the Git repository, all scripts, the plugins, and some funny experiments we do sometimes can be stored. And the Hub plugin in Rhino can then use this repository as a source for the update to the newest plugin or the latest Python script. So this repository also helps structuring, versioning, and planning our code projects, and is immensely helpful to keep up with the increasing complexity and helps to design even better interfaces for our colleagues. The working method in the project teams is strongly oriented to physical models. H&dM is known for having no special style, and every project is a new challenge. So you will find designs from the master plan to the smallest detail. So this diversity is not only reflected in the shown office archive, but also in dealing with our available tools. We have a new 5-axis CNC, which offers new possibilities in the design process, which, however, could only be fully exploited after a few adjustments. So together with the in-house CNC expert Dominic Nussen, I built a new interface for the 5-axis machine panel, which facilitates the control of all necessary functions. You would have not imagined how complicated it was before, so everything is on one screen now. We have developed a complete solution for programming and simulating 5-axis machine movements. For a better design workflow, it detects possible collisions, calculates full IK, the inverse kinematics, gives feedback about available tools, and makes programming the CNC much more intuitive. The advantage also of using a parametric environment like Grasshopper makes it also easy for us as developers to quickly modify and update milling strategies according to our coworkers' needs. For example, through the JIT, we can just distribute it. So this interface brings our employees back to work and lets them even forget about the labors of our old CAM software. And the physical model is extremely important design tool for the office. The quality is the result is in the focus, and the handling of the software is only a means for the purpose. The fact that the user and his ideas are in the foreground does not seem to have arrived yet at the big software vendors. Or they do not know anything about these 7 principles, maybe. So to finish this talk off, I used this provocation made by the architect Cedric Price in 1966, and I hope to start some discussion. Before I end my talk, I'm also here in Mission, so we were looking for people that speak French and are good in Revit, because we need somebody very soon. So if you're interested, you can just come up to me and get things done afterwards. And now we can discuss about software.
Is Nancy around? What I find interesting in your work is that it's very, I'm tempted to say symptomatic of a generation, which I see, it's also mine. It's at some point starting an early career in the building industry with some computational literacy, where there was a rising need to maintain a practice. And this need was, its growth was maintained specifically by larger offices. So we have seen in the last 10 years the rise and success of many consulting firms, but also internally specific, let's say, internal companies, internal consultancy, that we have seen growing in an incredibly more and more increasingly sophisticated, increasingly important, and also more and more capitalizing on computational knowledge in a very staggering way. And so it was a case as well that was a bit wrong, because 10 years ago, of course, it was not like that. And the practice and the need for it has also evolved. And I don't want to say it's because it's a sign of the times, etc., but I just want to say that it's a symptomatic of a certain generation. And people like you who have started your education into this kind of literacy and then grew in a very large company with some more and more demanding needs in that way, in my sense, developed a certain kind of reversed, a weird reversed application of an architectural ideal, towards an architectural artifact. And somehow the ideas are mixed, or the architectural ideas are mixed between the knowledge of this internal consultancy, with a huge amount of knowledge they have into implementing an idea toward the physical artifact, against the former practice which is trying to transition toward this materialization. And I think there is now a kind of interesting tension in those large fields. which for me is interesting because when I invite people like you, I see someone who has a huge amount of knowledge, who has seen a lot of large-scale architectural problems which were needed to be implemented, would need to be done at different phases of the building. And what I would be interested, because you are also presenting Blickfeld also as your own personal initiative, how you would see your own, how you would describe your own autonomy in this environment. In the way that, I mean, there are many students, and I can raise my hand because I'm also a student, I think it's important that if you want, that you say a few words how you picture yourself in this environment.
Well, I kind of have the impression that I'm still a student. I just finished my thesis in 2016, so it's not a long time ago. I still feel not a lot of difference working in the office actually. It feels quite the same. Just the thinking, the art, and let's say the concept of working is the same. Okay, you have to focus more on practicability, that's true. But still, I think universities, like the one I went to, they still have a good approach towards an open thinking, which is very important in an architectural office. Of course, depends in which office you work. Maybe H&dM is more open to experimentations, to have some free time to do stuff that is not so necessary, but eventually it gets into something that is very practical. Of course, if you have a small office, architectural office, this is not as easy to do, but I think in architecture it's really important to have this free space. And what I like to transmit the idea was that also we create nice tools, or there are a lot of people that do something that helps something, but I think actually it's important to not just do it, but how you do it, how you provide it. That's more relevant than just making something, because that's what the industry is doing, the software industry is doing basically. And what you all experienced, I guess, is having trouble with software, and it's always not working as you expected, and that's more influencing the design than it actually should, right? So yeah, I think the architect is the best developer for his own software, basically. Of course, not an architect will program a new CAD software, but it should have some influence into that. And yeah, Grasshopper, I think, is a good example because the developer is an architect and shows great result, a great impact in the contemporary architecture, I guess.
I guess part of my question, which was kind of hidden, is also do you see in all the work which I personally see as segments, tracing your own path in Herzog&de Blanc, but also in your personal project? Do you see, for example, you perceive your work as an architectural project in itself?
I think so, yes. It's this path looks really like fluent, right? But it's not planned. It's just making this presentation. I realized that it actually makes sense. It's not something that you would do. It's just I try always to keep on with something that interests me, and then it gets to somewhere. And I see it as an architectural project, of course, because architecture doesn't necessarily mean something that is built. It can also be something that helps to build. It's also part of a build project that the tools that you use to create something. And I think also Andreas' work is really great. We will have some beer afterwards and talk about it for sure. I think it's cool, and I'm really pleasant to see other people that are encouraged to provide tools and help out. And come with their expertise in and help to create this movement.
Nicolas?
Yeah, go.
It's just to further of what you said. I can have a feeling that sometimes you have an idea in mind, and the tools that you have at your disposal doesn't fit the idea that you get. So, in this case, how much is that you just apply? How much the tools influence the design, and how much that you build your own tools to make it work? Like, isn't now that design is much more something that is kind of related to the tool you get and not to the previous idea that you have in mind? How you interconnect, and if you have an example.
Yeah, that's true. If I understood this question right, it's basically so you're at the situation that some software or some tool is not working exactly as you want, but you want to create something. You have some idea in your mind, right? So I would like to jump back to what Andrea was talking about. So he had this idea to build something, and I think he created this tool because he wanted to get to the fundamentals of what it's doing, right? And so by doing that, by creating these tools, he studied the concepts of it, and that's already creating, right? That's already realizing the idea. Of course, you don't always have the time to do so, and you have to rely on people like Andrea that focus on a specific problem and try to solve that. It depends on what is your aim, right? If you have the time, you can develop, but if not, just use what is there. And there is a lot out there. It's actually, you have to be skilled to find stuff nowadays. I mean, in the office, I think I try every week a new software and check it out just to see what it's doing and just to have some knowledge about what it's around and to pass it over to colleagues that have problems. That's basically what I do most of the time.
So the big race is to get updated of all softwares and all improvements, to be sure that you know the greatest amount of tools to meet your needs.
Yeah, probably it's actually something that would be a new idea, right? You can provide a tool that helps to find tools. Why not? That could be very useful.
And how do you do to always innovate and try new tools and still have a good mastery of them, so you can understand the capacity and the possibilities?
I think it's a loop process. So usually I just do something because it's fun doing it and I liked it, or I think it's interesting. And then I start doing something and then I realize, okay, this is maybe not the way it should work because I struggle in using it, and so I try to improve it. So that's the circle of the seven principles, and I always try to get back to it. So it's, in the beginning I didn't have these, of course. It came after, and then I realized, okay, it's really about always improving the tool and always also seeing other people using it. It helps a lot to understand, because eventually you see something different from others and it's actually the wrong way, and other people found the right way. With just watching, you learn a lot.
What else?